Hello and welcome to Some of My Friends Read Comics. We've got Vance.
My greatest flaw, I surround myself with idiots.
We got Chris.
That was going to be mine, damn it.
That's okay. It's a good line. It can be my line, too. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Some of My Friends Read Comics. I'm Kia. I got to say my name. I forget to do that sometimes. We are reading some comics about Doctor Doom, who has surrounded himself by... Is Doctor Doom the one who surrounded himself by idiots? Who said that? Yeah. We're specifically reading a comic called Emperor Doom from 1987. It's one of Marvel's graphic novels series. Was those big one-shot... what is this, like 60-something pages?
Yeah.
Did you write down which number graphic novel this is? I did not.
I didn't.
It's number 27, but they stopped numbering them, so it's only for like the Overstreet price guide and whatever else. People keeping score at home.
Yeah, very important. I said, I don't still have an Overstreet price guide. I imagine do they still make those?
I bet those are worth a lot.
I was gonna say, if you go to a half price book, I bet you could pick one up.
I don't think they are worth a lot, actually. I think they're useless at this point. But we're reading that, and then we are continuing Earth X. We are on number 5. I think stuff happens in this issue, kind of. It feels like stuff happens. Or
we're not just recapping the Inhumans origin for the fourth time?
No, we're recapping other stuff.
Yeah.
All right, but we'll get to that. Let's jump into Emperor Doom here. And Vince, you wanted to do this because some other comic you were reading referenced Emperor Doom.
I was reading Daredevil, Devil's Reign, which was, I guess, some level of Marvel event a couple years ago, and the King somehow Daredevil had gotten Purple Man's powers to get everybody to forget that he was Matt Murdock in a very similar like Prism kind of concept for that. And they mentioned like Emperor Doom, and I'm like, I remember Chris mentioning that, and that's from like 87. So I was like, let's check it out. It's a Purple Man book. It's not creepy Purple Man the way he turned into like with like Alias. He's just normal Purple Man.
I mean, he's always kind of creepy,
but not creepy rapey, or not. Not, I mean, he's kind of rapey, but not rapist. So. If there's a distinction.
Yeah, and he's barely in this as well. I would not even call it a Purple Man book. This is a Doctor Doom book through and through.
Where Doctor Doom is going to steal somebody's powers, as he's wont to do.
He loves it.
I love that even on the first page, though, like the editor, Jim, I wanted to call it Purple Rain.
That's good.
Like rain, like REIGN.
Yeah.
I was like, that's clever. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. But that'd be good if Purple Man was actually
function more in this. And Chris, just as some housekeeping, I know we recently read a Doctor Doom book just a couple episodes ago by Walt Simonson. Is this actually Doctor Doom or is this Christoph, his replacement?
So this is Doctor Doom, but this is one of those stories where it is kind of hard to place exactly into continuity because during John Byrne's run, Doctor Doom was off the board for a long time. But it's also like the West Coast Avengers exists, but Vision hasn't been rebuilt. So it's kind of nebulous, like when exactly this could have happened. It's also, they mentioned Mark Grunwald had the idea. So maybe this had been like floating around for a year or two because I don't know when in continuity it would fit in 1987.
It says it takes place before West Coast Avengers 1, which I don't know if that had already been published by now. But...
That was 84, I think.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Or maybe that's just a miniseries, but yeah, that's the first miniseries was in 84.
Okay.
Well, who knows when it takes place? Doesn't particularly matter. It's just a story. And there's also a lot of stuff that happens in this month, which I'm like, I feel like we would have heard about this elsewhere.
Well, in the universe. So the Purple Rain, as it were, this whole book takes place. I mean, I'm already getting into it. It says it takes place over literal months, yet no one's gonna ever remembers this. Like this would be the subject of so many documentaries. I feel like, but I guess not.
Yeah. Let's get into it. So we start with Purple Man. He's chilling on some French island. He's got the mayor under his control, serving him drinks. And then some other guy shows up, and Purple Man can't control him. And this guy can control the Purple Man instead. Like, what? And that's our teaser opening here, our cold open. Who is that guy? Probably Dr. Doom.
Probably the guy on the cover of this name.
Could have just shown him, Then we get.
No, I bet it's Venom.
Then we get Then we get some hooded guy walking around New York City. We don't know who this is, but a cop notices the wings on his feet, and he's like talking about Atlantis and all that, and we're like, oh, okay, it's Namor. Also, if you're gonna like cover up, put some socks on, man. Like, that's the one area you need to cover up. Don't put on a big trench coat and a hat. A hat does you no good.
He's gonna chafe his little wings to put on socks.
Get something. And so the cop is like, oh shit, that's Namor. I gotta call the SWAT team. While he's doing that, Namor walks into some fancy club, and the people there are like, sorry, dude, no reservation. You can't get in. Dr. Doom says it's okay. He's my guest. And Dr. Doom zaps the clothes off of him, like burns them off. And Dr. Doom has invited him here because he tells him about this psycho prism he's using to control everyone, which is powered by a single strand of Purple Man's hair. And he plans to take over the world, but he needs Namor's help. And as they walk out, the cops have all shown up. And they're like, oh, there's nothing wrong here. Because Doom's just controlling them to do nothing.
I do love this scene. I like Dr. Doom just sitting in a fancy restaurant. Like it feels like the Brubaker Captain America, like with like the Red Skull just like sitting in restaurants. Like the way it's drawn, like he's in this like comically silly costume, and Namor is too. He's in his like only underwear costume. He doesn't have a vest at this point. And so it just makes me happy to see them like in a fancy restaurant talking about evil schemes while normal people are behind them. I don't know. I like the visual.
Yeah. I do love too that as he's like he makes this plan with Namor, and they're like, "Are you ready to order, sir?" He's like, "Order, little man. This establishment may be suitable for setting an example, but you truly expect me to eat here?"
Yeah, he just wanted to meet here just to like have a nice setting for the panels.
He's so disgusted by the New York food scene.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I love his flair for the dramatic.
So they head out there. They see Vision flying overhead, and Namor's like, "Oh, I see. That's why you need me, because his power doesn't work on like mechanical people." And Doom's like, "Yep, doesn't work on strong-willed people like you either." But listen, I've gotten these self-adhesive refractory discs, which are really just like they're just like little shiny lights you put on your bike or something that he picked up at the store, and
they're like air tags.
He refers to them by name as self-adhesive refractory discs multiple times, and it makes me laugh every time because it was very just like, I can make these self-adhesive and do what I want them to do.
It's also funny because it's just like there's the Captain America and other minor villain, the Controller, who has slave discs where he just attaches some kind of adhesive disc to you. Mm-hmm. To control your mind, but he's like, no, that's not. I didn't. This is my proprietary Doom technology.
Yep.
But 10-year-old me likes the scheme of this because it's like, Purple Man can't control everybody. He can't control robots. And Dr. Doom's like, I thought of that. I've got something else to control the robots and the other people that are going to cause him trouble. So the first half of this book is going to be MacGuffins of Namor helping Dr. Doom get the three people that would mess his plan up.
Yeah, when I was reading this, rereading it, I was like, why would Namor do this? But we find out later, it's all is not what it seems with Doom and his plan to get Namor looped in.
Well, because Namor's promised the sea. That's what we're told by the audience. And he's he's like, I'm going to conquer the land, and then I'm going to fucking leave you alone. And Namor's like, cool, that's what I've been wanting.
Yeah, and he's just like, yeah, I trust you on this one, Doom. That's the part where I'm like, you've worked with this guy before. You know he's no good.
Yeah, he's all. I don't think we've said what Namor needs to do. He's going to help construct a large prism so he can control the people that are tougher to control.
And he's gonna put these discs on these robots, basically.
So we've met the villains. Now we jump over to our real main character of the story, who is Simon Williams, Wonder Man, who I did not expect to be the main character of this thing.
I wasn't either, but I'm also like, they're supposed to be making a Wonder Man TV show or movie or something. I'm like, this would be good.
And I feel like I've never read any story ever that is like Wonder Man focused. Like this is a Wonder Man story.
Like he's gotten beaches by people like that are controlled, but like that's the extent of my Wonder Man knowledge.
Yeah, we did probably in episode 5 or 10. We did Kurt Busiek. Wonder Man was part of.
He was
part
in
of the Ultron. Right. Yeah, and he was a major character in it. But yeah, at the time, you guys were like, "Who's this guy?"
Well, I mean, he shows up like, and I remember like when Bendis like made like the Mighty Avengers with like the classic Avengers team, which I don't really like. To be fair, and Wonder Man was there. I'm like, I don't know who this is, and I don't care. And so I'm not used to like Wonder Man centric books. So here we go.
Yeah. So he is a stuntman. He is on the set of a film taking explosions from real, literal grenades on a movie set, and the director's like, "Damn! Imagine being able to use actual explosions. This is great." And he's done with work. He heads back to the West Coast mansion in a scene where we kind of meet all the Avengers who are living there, and they are all assholes. Everyone in this fucking scene is a goddamn asshole. I hate all of them.
Wow.
First off, we get Vince pointed this out before the show that Mockingbird
Chris
has a
did,
pizza.
for posterity.
Oh, sorry, Chris did.
None of our fans are going to
Mockingbird
call you out on this, but
is holding a pizza. How is she holding this pizza, Chris?
She first is holding it sort of like draped on her shoulder, which is not good. But then in the next page, she is like holding it like a book, like fully pressed to her chest, like
it's not
vertical.
How you hold a pizza, you dumbass. Mockingbird, you're going to ruin that pizza.
Like
anyway,
you're gonna have like sauce dripping out of this pizza box.
Terrible.
Cheese everywhere. It's like when Spider-Man's like, "Oh, pizza time," and it's just like, yeah, you didn't think about the fact that you're subjecting a pizza to multiple G forces. Not good for the pizza.
Not good. Not good. So Mockingbird says, "All right, hey Wonder Man, do you want to split this pizza with me and Hawkeye?" And he's like, "Hey, sure." And they start heading in. They call Hawkeye like, "Hey, come on in, we're eating." And Hawkeye was like, "I can't. I'm busy practicing my bow and arrow skills. I can't go in." He's shooting apples. Like, Hawkeye, you're fine. Go eat your pizza.
They're all wearing masks too around the mansion, which continues to bother me.
Yeah. So then Wonder Man is like, "Jeez, this pizza is gonna get cold by the time Hawkeye is done. I'm out. I'm out of here." And they're smooching. So he's like, "All right, let's go." Instead, he goes over to Tigra and says, "Tigra, you want to split a sandwich with me?" And Tigra says, "I can't. I'm busy reading the new Jim Davis book. It's terrific." Jim Davis is the guy who does Garfield. Right?
I don't think anybody's ever like I never said like I'm reading the new Charles Schultz book.
Right.
You know,
It's
I'm
the new
reading
Peanuts. It's
the new
Garfield.
strip by Bill Watterson by
Well, then I was like, okay, maybe it's not. And I did some research. Chris and I were looking this up beforehand. It's possible that she was reading Garfield number 13, Food for Thought, which came out February of 1987.
Oh.
Could be. It could be. And I listen. It says here, Jim Davis launched U.S. Acres in 1986, which ran through 1989. Maybe she's excited about the new Jim Davis book, which is U.S. Acres.
That's the and Friends of Garfield and Friends.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Or Orson the Pig and such. Tigra, she is a cat person, so I feel like she's pretty cat forward. Sure.
But in that case, again, even more reason to just say, I'm reading the new Garfield. Come on, Tigra. She doesn't want it to sound like she's reading comic strips. Maybe that's it. Anyways.
And they very clearly didn't draw a comic.
No, it looks like a novel. Like it looks like
panels. I like to think maybe it's a Jim Davis like biography or retrospective.
I looked it up. Doesn't exist. Not in that era.
There's
no
biography about Jim Davis.
Look, if a listener, if you know of a Jim Davis thing that came out that Tigra could have been reading in this era, please let us know. I'm dying.
Yeah, it's one of those prose Garfield stories.
Yeah, it's a pro. Has Jim Davis ever written a prose anything at all?
Then Garfield looked at Odie, thinking of mischief. All right, let's move.
So Wonder Man
Mondays
is like,
more than
so no one's gonna eat with Wonder Man, and he's like, I guess I'm not even hungry. So he runs into Tony.
This
Stark.
scene confused me so much.
I am so confused by this. Oh, so Tony's like, hey, Wonder Man, I wanted to run some chemical experiments so we could learn more about your body.
He's
get in this tank.
Mind controlled.
Just get in this tank. And yeah, not mind controlled at all. Somehow Wonder Man also already knows this is going to take a month. He's going to be suspended in this thing for a literal month.
He was just getting some pizza. How's he to say he switched gears like within like half a minute?
He didn't say bye to anyone. Did he have any work lined up? Did you
He
have to
had
be
a
back,
pizza
back on
lined
set
up. He had
tomorrow?
lunch lined up.
Uh,
Yeah,
and
they're gonna be on set like we need someone to have something explode on their head.
also I realized we jumped right into this. We didn't even mention the writer and artist on this, did we? I didn't write it down either. Who wrote David Michelini wrote
It's
this.
Bob Hall is the
Bob
artist.
Hall on art. I wanted to mention the art because I like the way Tony Stark is drawn here. There's something very classic about him, and it doesn't fit the rest of the book either. Tony Stark looks different here, I think, than everyone else's.
Yeah, I am not a huge fan of Bob Hall's art. He did run on Avengers and West Coast Avengers and various other things. This is not really. I mean, there's a little bit of his style to this, but he is. I feel like he was doing more of a like Jack Kirby, John Buscema style on his monthly books. This is much more like Walt Simonson-y or like cartoony in ways that I think are good. Like I actually prefer this over most of his, like I said, his Avengers run. He looked like he was like, all right, draw like this, and he's like, okay, I'll just do that. And I never thought of him as being very good, but yeah, I really like some of the expressions we get here. Some of the characters that are off model, I think, are off model in good ways. Like Namor, always a weird looking character, but I like the way he draws him.
Looks like he also drew that the first 5 issues of the Squadron Supreme we read years ago.
Oh yeah, well, there you go.
I remember that being very like okay,
and then we were like, and then the art got good.
Yeah, I don't remember thinking he was particularly good on that.
Right,
Again,
right.
nothing against him. I don't dislike his art, but I do feel like this is better than his normal art.
Yeah.
And then Michelini did Iron Man Demon in a Bottle, which is something that we still got to read at one point. Maybe that's a long read. It's like 8 issues. It's like wrong.
They do reference it here as well. So next day. Latest shut. Wonder Man is sealed away for a month.
10-year-old me is like, that's gonna come into play after Doctor Doom becomes Emperor Doom, based on the title. And then Wonder Man is off the table for a month, and he's probably gonna pull like a 28 days later, and be like, what happened?
The funniest part is that he's not even on Doom's radar. Like Wonder Man is so low that he's like, should we get someone to do something about Wonder Man? No,
it's fine. Then at the East Coast Avengers, we have Vision sitting at the computers. Jarvis comes in and says, "Hey, Namor's here to see you." And Vision's like, "What? Namor? You just let him in?" And of course, everyone's being mind controlled. All the rest of the Avengers are mind controlled.
We got a Star Fox appearance.
Star Fox, good old Star Fox.
We need your help.
Nope, wrong Star Fox. This is the Star Fox.
Shooting Fox.
Nope, also not. He's not in this either.
I'm monkey food if I don't leave.
None of them are in it. None of it. I don't have any lines from Star Fox that I can counter.
Do a barrel roll.
That's wrong. But Scarlet Witch and Star Fox are there. Namor commands Star Fox to choke out Scarlet Witch, who is married to Vision at this point. And Vision's like, I surrender. I can't. Don't do that, please. And so Namor puts the self-adhesive refractory disc on Vision's forehead.
Is Star Fox
controlled them all? Is
Star Fox Thanos' half brother or brother? His hot brother?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, I thought I was a different guy. Okay.
He comes. Yeah. He's Harry Styles at the end of Eternals.
Yeah, he's in Eternals for the after credit scene, right?
Yeah, Patton Oswalt and Harry Styles show up. Patton Oswalt's Pip the Troll.
Yeah, Black Knight is what's his name?
Jon Snow.
Game of Thrones. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. The worst Avenger. I hate him so much.
So Namor commands Vision to dematerialize his hand and stick it in the computer monitors to fuck everything up, and then delete your memory of it. And he leaves, and he's like, "Okay, cool." He also makes Vision dance. That's fine. Then we go to Doom's base in the Caribbean. He's building his giant gem structure out there. Purple Man is inside the gem, cursing him. That's what's going on there. Back at the West Coast, Tigra has picked up a transmission from the East Coast. Just like the monitors, they get copied on everything, and she sees what Namor did to Vision.
Yeah.
He didn't tell Vision to erase the East Coast copy.
No, it uploaded to the iCloud too fast.
Yep, too fast. Um, at some garage, when did this come into play? Gears Garvis, who's like a mechanic, has helped a machine man upgrade his parts, thanks to
He
Namor.
is on Doom's radar, the Machine Man.
Machine Man. When does Machine Man come back into anything?
Well, he doesn't come back in this at all. He gets the mind control thing stuck to him.
Right.
Oh, that's right.
It's more. There are 3 beings that Doom can't control.
Yeah,
and
he's
that
like,
would
it's
cause him a
Machine
problem.
Man. Yes,
Yeah.
Vision, and someone else. We'll get to it.
He never thinks like Doctor Strange or like Daredevil.
No. The
He's
Man
like,
Without
nah.
Fear. No.
Again, Daredevil, a guy who's fought the Purple Man like a dozen times at this point, and is immune to him because he's blind.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Is that why?
I thought you
Yep.
can. It's not smelling Purple Man. It's also seeing.
Yeah, I think seeing is a big part of it.
Okay, seeing is believing.
Yeah.
No, I can also see Doom thinking through his plan and being smart, and then also forgetting major components. I can also see him doing that.
Yeah.
And Doom knows Daredevil's blind because they swapped bodies before.
What?
So it's
Why
not
are we
like
not
he's
reading
like,
that story?
he's like, oh, I've never met Daredevil. Well, it's a classic Lee and Kirby, so we should sometime. Anyway,
body
yeah.
switch issue because there's also a Wolverine and an Ultimate Spider-Man issue. That's a great idea.
Yeah, but we should do like a whole run of body swap because Chris Claremont loves to do it and he did a bunch of them.
Yeah. All right. So the West Coast Avengers are like, all right, we got to head out to Doctor Doom's island where apparently he is. How do they know where he is? Anyways, when they say we have to leave Wonder Man behind, it would be too risky to interrupt the experiment right now. Like, what are you doing to him that you? Anyway,
don't skip. So probably one of the best scenes in the whole thing is Kilgrave is like, he's like, Doom, you're just like, this is my power. Like, you're not anything. Like, really, I should be running things. And Doom's like, oh, is that so? And then just goes into the little, cubic zirconium thing and takes off his mask and looks at
yes,
Purple Man and is like, well, what are you going to do? And he's like, release me already. And he just looks at him like, kill yourself. And he's just like, no.
It's very weird.
It's just Doom just stares at him and is like, you can't, I resist your control completely and I get to be in charge here.
I thought it was awesome.
It's pretty great.
I don't know. It felt to me, it was like, didn't we already see this? You can resist his power. And it's like, I don't know.
Well, we never saw him resist it.
Okay, fair.
He got snuck up on by a dude in the shadows.
Yeah. Okay. So what's going on here? I do like also on Doom Island, which the book does call it Doom Island, which is great. His people tell him, hey, we've detected a high-speed vehicle taking off from the Avengers West Coast location and heading straight here. Which, how? That's a very good whatever range thing you're using to detect that.
I mean, yeah, they were looking just for this one thing to happen.
Yeah. That's their job. Wait for this to happen till Doom. The Avengers get to the island. They got to fight some turrets and some soldiers.
Feels like stuff. Incredibles. That's what it looks like. It and feels like Incredibles.
It is very much the Incredibles. Yeah. Except there's no sexy. What's her name?
Elastigirl. Mm-hmm.
No, Syndrome's like assistant lady.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I was in Mom Incredible, but okay.
Yeah, that flirts with Bob. You know.
Yes, I do.
Yes. So the Namor, we see him get Ultron under control. That's the third big robot that can't be controlled.
All right, case closed. 3 robots.
That's it. We're good to take over the world. The Avengers then approach Doom, who turns on the device, and the Avengers are like, why are we here again? And Dr. Doom's like, hey, get out of here. You're bothering me. And they're like, oh, sorry about that. We're leaving. I like that.
Would even have cared with Doom's scheme? He wouldn't have stopped it.
Ultron? Would Ultron have stopped?
Yeah. Why does Ultron need to be taken off the tape? Ultron doesn't give a shit, right?
Why? Yeah. Is he going to do something that is going to foil Doom's plan accidentally? I don't understand what they're...
He's an X Factor. He's a machine. Can't trust him.
It's true.
Think about every machine.
Doom might conquer the world, and then Ultron then decides to shoot his shot. Okay.
Yeah.
There have to be more than 3 robot people in the Marvel Universe.
Yes, there absolutely are.
So Doom then goes to the UN and makes them vote him in as Emperor of Earth. Hooray!
We don't even need to rewrite the bylaws. That takes too much time.
Yeah. And then Namor was like, hey, wait a minute. I thought I was going to rule the seas. And then Namor, I don't need you anymore.
Namor jumps to this. I feel like there should have been like one extra line because Doom is like, I'm going to take over. I think he says, the whole planet Earth is mine or something. And Doom, there's no part where Namor's like, yeah, but the sea's still mine, right? And then Doom goes, no.
Right.
Like, it's just.
Namor is instantly like, hey, what? What did you say? No. Seas are mine, not the whole Earth being yours.
Right.
But Doom is like, hey, well, that little mini version of the amulet, the prism that I gave you, that thing, that acts as a booster, which helps me control people that are harder to control. So you're under control now, too. And he's like, what? And he tries to throw it away. And Doom's like, keep that thing. And he's like, yeah, I'll keep it forever, man. It's pretty good. So Namor is a pawn again. Now we get a whole bunch of a montage of improvements that Doom makes to the world over the course of a month. He's fixed governments. He's ended wars.
Again, I love, there's just a caricature of Ronald Reagan. Will the White House do, Doctor? Well, I am used to more opulent surroundings.
That was the funniest thing of Trump's presidency to me, was that Trump felt like the White House was a dump. He kept tweeting about how like shitty its fixtures were, and I thought that was the funniest thing. But here, like, the art is cool. It's got like that kind of like Fable style, like panel where like Doctor Doom, like his art is carrying through the panel borders. It's very cool. He solves apartheid in South Africa.
He ends the invasion of Afghanistan.
The Iraq-Iran war is over. What else does he do? Yeah,
he does great. Doom rules.
Yeah, world peace.
Yeah,
nobody's hungry. He ends world hunger.
Yeah, this guy rocks. So Wonder Man then wakes up a month later. And he's like, where is everybody? Nobody's here. And he sees Tony like walking down the hallway carrying blueprints. And he's like, oh, yeah, no time for the experiments right now. I'm redesigning the Stark space shuttle for the Emperor. Did
he strip down to nothing when he went into this thing? Because we see his ass. Like, what's going on here?
Did he? I'm scrolling back.
Yeah.
I don't remember him. Oh, he did. He did strip down. Yeah.
It's just funny. It's just like, why is this in the book?
This is one of those like special like DC Black Label books where you get to see Batman's dick. You know, this is
this is for sure rated at least T for teen. This is a little
not approved by the Comics Code Authority.
It's a very shadowy ass. It's an ass in the shadows.
Yeah.
So Wasp and Cap are also here at the West Coast Avengers from the East Coast. They're helping redesign this place because the Emperor has chosen this compound for his winter home. Aren't we lucky?
Captain America has more willpower than this. I kind of call bullshit on this.
I agree, but if that's the way the story's going, listen. Namor,
he is like the first guy he goes to.
Yeah. I would put an extra self-adhesive control disc or whatever on Captain America just for extra assurance.
It's an extra.
Yeah.
Again,
I would get like Doctor Strange and all magic people because you can't trust it to work on them.
Right.
Really, you gotta put one of those refractory discs on everybody. I think just to be safe.
That's what everybody should like have to like report and then give them to their family members or something. That should be a big part of manufacturing.
Yeah.
Elf on the shelf.
Yeah, like a Tamagotchi, but it mind controls you.
So Tigra is too busy to talk to Wonder Man because she has got more benefits to appear at because the Emperor has put an end to crime. I'm not quite sure how those two things are linked, but that's why. Wonder Man, then looking on the news on the tiniest little TV I've ever seen, Wonder Man sees that Dr. Doom was at a ticker tape parade, and they're like, "What? I got to tell the others. We got to stop him." Captain America and Wasp are like, "Stop Doom? I better make a phone call." And Captain America calls Doom direct, and is like, "We got a complication here, sir." And so Dr. Doom's like looking up Wonder Man. It's like, oh, he doesn't breathe. His metabolism's totally different. He's just made of energy. What am I going to do about this guy? All right, contain him. So we get a fight now with Wonder Man versus the other Avengers. He escapes on one of Hawkeye's sky cycles. And a bunch of civilians attack him outside too. And he's like, what the heck? So he goes to the movie studio at night. and puts on a disguise so that he can disappear from the world.
Does he have to wear his sunglasses, Chris?
I mean, he doesn't have to, but he doesn't have regular human eyes. He has like energy eyes, so it kind of is a giveaway.
Okay, so the red quartz sunglasses with like the mustache disguise.
Yeah, that's much less suspicious than just like energy eyes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then Doom, we see him kind of enjoying his victory, but it does feel a little hollow. He dreamed of ruling as a conqueror, not as an administrator. And some aide is like reminding him of a meeting he needs to be at, and Doom's like, all right, time to do my duty. He doesn't really like it, but also you're in charge of everything. Like, why are these meetings happening if everything is fine, you know?
Right.
Well, it's the administration he has to deal with. It's no fun.
Simon is living in the woods now, moving around. Not really living there. He's just kind of not sure what to do. And he comes across a blind woman who lives in the woods, who offers him a meal. He makes up a fake name for himself, Hal Cannett. I don't know. I was trying to figure out if this had any significance to it. They talk about Mozart and, you know, how the world was a better place for him, and it inspires Wonder Man not to give up and run, but to get back in there and save the day. Okay, cool. Wonder Man, that disguise, literally nobody saw it. He just talked to a blind woman while he was wearing it, and then he was like, you know what, yeah, this is a bad idea. Wonder Man goes to the Avengers compound, gets some info from the computer there, realizes there's Purple Man powers going on, sees info like, oh, if you have a lot of willpower, you can resist. And he's like, okay, Captain America's got a lot of willpower. Let's go see if we can save him. He like goes to fight him or something and makes him watch videos of Doom to bring his memories back. And he's like, oh my God. And so Captain America's healed. They make a plan to get back the other Avengers who also have the strongest willpower, which they identify as Wasp, Hawkeye, and Tony Stark. And
why Tony Stark? Fucking recovering alcoholic Tony Stark.
I love that Wonder Man is immediately like, you sure about that one?
yeah. He does straight up bring up the alcoholism too. And they're like, yeah, it's fine. So they also make Wasp, Hawkeye, and Tony watch these videos. And Hawkeye and Wasp are instantly like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Thanks for saving me. Tony, it's a little more questionable if it worked on him, where he's kind of in tears. And he's like, oh yeah, he's our enemy, right? And yeah.
So by omission, who are the people that they choose that don't have strong willpower? Are they the women, other than Janet?
Well, as I say, Wasp is there as a founding Avenger. But yeah, Scarlet Witch, Vision.
Vision's got a button on him.
Vision's a robot.
It's got glue all over.
Pull it off him.
It's glue. It's self-adhesive.
They saw what happened, but anyway,
Tigra and Mockingbird. I think they went with longest tenured. You know, like they've seen some shit.
It's like Avengers Endgame, where it just is conveniently like the founding members are the ones that they choose to be part of the team. Okay.
Yeah, which is funny because I didn't know at the time, but yeah, the George Perez, Kurt Busiek Avengers relaunch. The first story arc is Morgan Le Fay making like a medieval world, and then like people with the most willpower are able to remember it, and Cap is like, I'll go get Tony. Like the first guy he gets is Hawkeye, and he's like, oh no, and it doesn't work. And Tony like rats them out to Morgan Le Fay, and is like, I told you, don't get him.
Well, speaking of getting ratted out, these Avengers get ratted out by Mockingbird, who sees this all happening, and she's
a monster.
Yeah,
just between this and the pizza.
Yeah. So Hawkeye punches her.
Off camera.
Off camera. But afterwards, he's like, damn, man, I had to punch my own wife.
How many Avengers husbands have hit their wives?
Canonically, I think if this is canon,
at least two.
Shit is. Yeah, at least two.
Yeah.
Which is strange that it's more than once.
I don't think Scarlet Witch ever abused Vision. I think that it was all after they were divorced that she destroyed him.
Yes.
So that's okay.
So Doom has gotten this call from Mockingbird. He is excited. He's like, yeah, a rebellion. Great. I feel alive. Let's do this. He just wants to fight. So we got a big little battle here. Soldiers, big robots, that kind of stuff. I thought there would be a thing where Tony turns on them, but instead he snaps out of it and saves Hawkeye. All right.
Yeah, he
Kinda
almost
boring.
doesn't, but then he does. Yeah.
Yeah. Which was not what I was expecting out of that. I really thought there was going to be some sort of turn. Namor is going to snap Wasp, and Wasp was like, I know what to do. She blasts an aquarium to let some water out, and the water touches Namor and brings him back to full strength. He hasn't been in the ocean forever, and his full willpower is back, and he can resist. Hooray.
Yeah, I love his pose. He's so he's so mad and he's flexing so hard.
And this, for me, this book comes down to this scene. This is the scene of the book
This is
where
so good.
Doom is like, no problem. I'm going to release some nerve gas, take everyone out. And then his administrators start to come in, and they've got like talking to him about responsibilities and whatever. And Doom's like, you know what? Let's just let fate decide what happens. I'm not going to release this nerve gas. We'll see.
He just remembers all these boring things he has to do as the emperor of the world.
Yep. And he hates it.
That's right, Your Majesty. After reviewing the upswing in hog production in Budapest, you're scheduled to meet with the representative. He's like, forget it.
So we see Namor smash the big crystal. The Avengers find Purple Man burned to a crisp. Is he dead? He can't be, because we see him again, but who knows?
Burned to... I mean, Namor
Is he alive?
punches him out of the thing.
He looked dead to me. I don't know. Maybe he's not dead. Maybe he's just like smoldering. Like I don't know. There's definitely burn lines coming off of him, is what it looks like to me. I think he's dead.
I think he's
But we'll
dead.
see.
I think
He's
the book
fine.
acts like he's dead, but I think obviously he's gonna come back.
Yeah, he's fine.
And everything goes back to normal. The world goes back to war instantly.
Apartheid reinstated.
Yep,
The Avengers reinstated apartheid. That's fucked up. They said it's just like, yeah, and then we saved the day and gave South Africa back to the white minority. Yay, we did it.
Maybe they should have done something about that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, in the Marvel universe, Genosha, maybe you should do something about that too while you're dealing with apartheid. Also bad.
Just like there should have been like a review of, and I know they're gonna have a scene like maybe we shouldn't have done this, and like or at least like like well it's just like being in Nazi Germany with no free will, and I'm like yeah, but you could have fixed world hunger. You could have redistributed a little bit of wealth, like especially with like the way that like South Africa is like. I mean, there were people in power that now had control over like the armies and stuff. Like, how did the white minority get control of the army in this scenario?
I don't know.
Like, it's fucked up. Like, there was probably a nasty coup that happened. That
it was probably worse.
That the Avengers just let happen. Honestly, as a writer, you probably just shouldn't have used any real world events.
Yeah,
it's probably.
I think.
At least, if you were like, Afghanistan and Russia is like, that's, your readers are either not going to know or care that much about that one. But yeah, apartheid ages pretty badly.
Well, especially because it's like, it's finished like in like 4 years, right? Within like by the early 90s. So well, and the invasion of Afghanistan's over by I think the late 80s, and anyway, so that all worked out. It all worked out fine for the Afghanistan people. The brave people that Rambo helped.
Yep. I would say that the world just didn't deserve Dr. Doom. The Avengers didn't deserve him. Yeah, that's for sure.
He's too beautiful for this world.
Too beautiful for this world. Poor Doom.
Doom was
but yeah, as we said before, there's nothing in this book with lasting continuity, strangely enough.
It's fucking weird though, because like this book literally takes place over months. Mm-hmm. Like it has to, because Simon's gone for a month. So Doom at least ruled, and I think like it says like the months went on. So I think Doom ruled for at least 2 or 3 months. And in Marvel time, that's only been like 15 years since the Marvel Universe began. That's a long chunk of time for the entire planet to be enslaved by Dr. Doom. For no one to remember or give a shit.
Right. But that's more of a meta criticism, I guess. It's it's an interesting story. I
liked it. I liked all of it. I
yeah.
thought it was like in terms of like just a fun, stupid adventure that was like a longer done in one. Like Wonder Man got to be a highlight. I actually like learned a little bit about Wonder Man. Like, oh, like he doesn't breathe. Okay, all right. I know something. He's got something with weird eyes now. I've never learned that in any book I've read about him. He was put on the focus. I got good Avengers moments. People were like, I wouldn't trust Tony Stark if I were you. Doctor Doom got a lot of good moments. Namor was cool. I think like all around, like there were cool character moments. It was silly. I wouldn't have done the real world stuff, but in retrospect, it's also fun to talk about. So I feel like 10 out of 10, fun book to read.
Whoa. Wow. 10 out of 10?
Yeah.
Damn.
Would read again. No regrets.
Chris, how about you?
Yeah, I like this. It is funny. I'm always the person who's just like, I have ranted a lot about how much I hate how the industry changed to be focused on 6-part stories and stories that never went anywhere. This story, I feel like it is in almost too much of a hurry. It's 65 pages. So it's basically a 3-part story.
Yeah.
You probably could have done 1 or 2 more issues worth of story. This could have been 100 pages without and still have the same scope. And you could have had, maybe Iron Man developed a little more about like what the hell he's doing the whole book. Mm-hmm. You could have developed Hawkeye. You could have had investigate what's wrong with Mockingbird, that she thinks that it's okay to hold a pizza like this.
Yeah.
Yep. Just a little bit more character moments for everyone. But yeah, I this is what I like. And it's the right balance of it's silly and but it's fun, and it's also like, yeah, it's a superhero comic, like at the end of the day, it's not thinking like, oh, this is a this is a meta commentary about blah blah blah. It's like, no, it's mostly about he used the Purple Man powers to mind control everyone.
Right. Yeah. I mean, as a spine, if they had made a spine of this as a Marvel movie, like they don't have a Doctor Doom right now, but like Emperor Loki. And this was like a Loki movie, I'd be 100% down. This would be a great little Avengers movie. So,
sure, yeah, I agree with that.
I'm like, yeah, this is fun. This gave me exactly what I wanted. Bickering villains. I like bickering villains also.
Would you settle for a season 2 of what, the Defenders or whatever they called the Jessica Jones Daredevil team?
Defenders took like 4 episodes for them to meet in a diner. I didn't know. And then they killed off Sigourney Weaver like on episode 4 or 5. It was stupid. No, thank you.
But what if since we have Purple Man in that universe, if we
bring back David Tennant? That would be cool. He was a good Purple Man.
Yeah. I think that would be cool, to tie him in somehow. But again, they would never do any of that because that Netflix stuff was whatever.
Yep. I don't think I like this quite as much as you two. It's still good. I'd say it's still an above average comic. It was fine. There were some moments that were very fun. But overall, it was kind of like, I don't know, a little bit ho-hum. There were too many scenes that didn't stick with me to call it like a 10 out of 10,
I think the first half is much more strong than the back half, but
yeah. But still good, still decent. I would not read it again. I would have no reason to, but it's fine. Overall, I would probably want to read more Wonder Man, honestly. This guy seems okay.
Wow.
No, maybe not. He's not actually. It didn't make me want to read more Wonder Man. More just like, I'm okay with Wonder Man. He can be in more books now, and I'm okay.
He's
with
allowed.
That.
He's got.
He's allowed in books. Yes.
Wow. Now we just got to figure out how to get Justice, or what was the little fire dude? Was that his name, Justice or something?
Justice.
He didn't have.
What was
he was dating Firestar.
What's the Avengers young dude carrying boxes that I always make fun of?
Yeah, that's Justice. He was dating Firestar. From Spider-Man's Amazing Friends.
Excellent.
When's Justice gonna have his Wonder Man and Emperor Doom moment?
Yeah, when?
I'll have to write it. I'm gonna make it happen.
Listeners, y'all can do that.
Yeah.
He was in Avengers: The Initiative. If you want to check that out.
I don't. Let's move on to Earth X. We're on to Earth X number
5.
5. Yes. We start with some history of the Asgardians this time. Hooray!
We've
Just what
moved
we
on to
wanted.
a different alien race by Jack Kirby. That's been here since the beginning.
The Watchers don't have much of a record of them, but we do know that they descended from a race of shapeshifters, and that the Asgardians only have power if we believe they do. Oh, which Loki coming back and accidentally making the Avengers form really brought Asgard back into the spotlight, into people's consciousness.
It's like a Freddy Krueger thing.
Yeah.
Like
You can't. It doesn't work if you don't believe in them.
Okay, but I do.
Yep.
I do like the thing that he's like, Ragnarok happens if Earth dies, then there's no humans to believe in the Asgardians, and then Asgard dies. Like,
yep.
I don't know exactly how that works, but okay.
And then I think just my favorite part of this book is X-51 and Uatu constantly insulting him, saying, and X-51 keeps thinking of ways to save mankind. And Uatu says, do not speak to me of ideas, thoughts, or anything other than what you observe. And he says, okay, I'll keep my opinions to myself. He's like, no, you still don't get it. You're not supposed to have any opinions. Stop it. I like that.
So I know it's been a while. So at the beginning of this, did somebody blind Uatu? Did somebody sneak up on the Watcher? Is that what happened?
He's been blind for 20 years. That's why he hasn't caught up on all the stupid shit that's happening.
Are we going to find out?
We still don't know why he's blind. I don't remember if we find out. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
So we jump to the Inhumans, your favorite, Vince.
Medusa. Medusa's my fave.
Yep. Reed is telling Medusa
the best Marvel Cinematic show.
I like that show. It was a good show. Reed tells Medusa he needs to go find Professor Xavier's Cerebro helmet, and he's like, "Hey," he points to this wishbone that Medusa's carrying. It was like, and Lockjaw, their teleporting dog, used to have a big wishbone on his head, and so Reed is like, "Was that Lockjaw?" And she's like, I don't want to talk about it. It was hard on our family. She just hands it over. Take it. Do what you need to do to help. So
does Lockjaw have the lifespan of a normal dog?
I don't know.
I don't know.
He's a teleporting dog, which throws everything out the window. I think
he could live for 100 years, not 10 to 15.
I don't know.
Yeah, I remember there was an explanation about whether Lockjaw was an Inhuman, who was turned into a dog.
Oh, I'd like to think he was a dog that got activated by the Terrigen Mists. That seems better.
Yeah.
I don't remember the details. I remember that there was an origin, and I don't remember what it was.
Yep.
But there was an origin. I've never thought about it.
We got to find that issue. Put that on the list. The Lockjaw origin issue. So Reed teleports out of there using this wishbone, and as soon as he leaves, the Doombots activate, and the Inhumans are like, "Oh shit! Well, Reed's gone, so these Doombots think we're intruding now." So, but the Doombots just pass right by Black Bolt, who was just standing there still doing nothing. Why? What's going on? Black Bolt's also acting real funny recently. What's going on with him? We'll see. Good thing Black Bolt doesn't talk. So if it is somebody pretending to be Black Bolt, they don't have to do much. I don't remember if it is somebody pretending to be Black Bolt, but that's where my brain's going right now. We then jump to the Red Skull kid, his minions, the Iron Spider, and that spider guy.
Did we skip over the part where Lady Thor shows up and Loki sexually harasses?
We have not skipped over that. Don't worry. We'll get there.
We'll get there. Okay.
Iron Maiden and the spider guy are like, hey, so Red Skull, once you have everything you want, are you going to set us free? And Red Skull's like, what? Don't you like me? Of course you do. Don't mess around with me. You have to like me. And Iron Maiden tries to say something opposed to that, but she cannot speak. Yeah,
he's a real purple man.
Purple man. Steve Rogers, meanwhile, is broken and depressed. He's lost this battle with the Red Skull. And Daredevil comes up and puts his hand on his shoulder and says, hey, buddy, I'm your new partner. And he was like, what? Listen, man, you don't want any part of this. And he's like, aren't you that guy who lets people kill him for money? He's like, yep, that's me. but I want to get back to the Red Skull because he took all my customers. And it's like, okay, yeah, this is so much more serious than that. Like, all of my partners have died. You don't want to join me. He's like, no, that's exactly why I do want to join you, because all your partners have died, and that's what I want to do. He doesn't say that, but yeah.
That was a really good line.
Yeah.
He's like, why do you think I want to join your? Why do you think I want to be your partner? Like, you got him.
Yep.
Defeated by his own logic.
At the Sanctum Supreme, Hulk and Bruce are there. We still don't exactly figure out why they're separated, but they're talking to Clea and Wong. And we learn that Doctor Strange's astral form was attacked, possibly killed, but his physical body is still alive. They're keeping it levitating next to some candles, like you do with the dead body of a Sorcerer Supreme. So yeah, his physical body is there, but as far as they know, he's dead. Bruce has come to them because he's been dreaming of cancer and death. He was dreaming of Captain Marvel, which, a friend of the show, we read The Death of Captain Marvel way back when. One of the first Marvel graphic novels we read. Was that the first Marvel graphic novel?
It might be. I think
so.
But Marvel talks about how he, died of cancer and all that. And Clea's like, yep, I remember that. I was there. And he says, but in this dream, he didn't die like he did. He rises in the dream, and he has the entire universe inside of him, and you can see the solar system, but there's no Earth there. And then he dies again. And Clea's like, not sure what that means. It is kind of like eternity, and how he's like the universe's physical form, even though he's also been slain, which is a weird paradox.
He's dead too.
He's dead too, though. Like, okay, all right. But Bruce says, I want to go to the realm of the dead so we can ask Marvel himself. But after Thor shows up, and we see Thor, who is now a lady. Thor's a lady now, but it still seems to be the real Thor. So she helps the Iron Avengers for a bit. Not quite sure with what. What was she helping them with? Some fight.
Frost giants or something. Some kind of giants.
Then she talks to Loki, who shows up. This was all his doing. And Loki calls her sister. So it's like, yeah, all right, this is Thor. What's the sexual harassment you talked about there, Chris?
Well, he is like, oh yeah, Hercules was calling about you. I said you're available, and then is like, oh, you put down the hammer, and like Butch is out, and is otherwise just being like, why are you being like this?
Honestly, it seems on brand for Loki, to be honest.
Yeah.
But that's that for that scene. We don't really learn much of why Thor is a woman now.
Loki's going to set Lady Thor up with Hercules. That's going to be awkward.
It is going to be awkward. We then get Scott Summers talking to the Starjammers, his dad and his brother, who are off in another galaxy. And they're like, hey, man, the Starjammers don't want to come to Earth. It seems like there's some bad stuff heading that way. But they said they could swing by real quick just to pick you up, and then we gotta go. And Scott's like, so no Jean? And they're like, no, I'm sorry, but she'd want you to live. Scott's like, nope, I can't go. Gotta stay here. Gotta protect Jean.
He's a real piece of shit to both his dad and his brother.
Yep.
He's just like, oh, you want to abandon Jean just like you abandoned our mom. That's pretty cool, Dad.
Yep.
It's just like, wow, okay.
We then see Jean and Wolverine, who are married, in a scene that I did not expect. I'd read this before, and I forgot this completely. Wolverine and Jean Grey are an old married couple that have been married for a long time, and they're fat now. And they're basically trailer park trash. I don't think they live in a trailer park. They live in an apartment in New York, but they look like trailer park trash. Jean's got curlers in her hair. Wolverine is wearing an I'm with stupid t-shirt, right?
Yep.
And
he says he can't get drunk or get fat. And she's like, oh, really? When was the last time you saw your feet?
Yep. And so that's interesting with the two of them. That's kind of all we see of them. Wolverine's hair is he needs a haircut, especially in some of the art, the black and white concept art later. Boy, he looks. It's a good design. It's a terrible design. Like, it's simultaneously a good and terrible design.
It's so bad, it's good.
Yeah. Then we get the Inhumans fighting off the Doombots. One of them is like, oh, I can't believe Richards didn't warn us of this with his intellect. And Karnak has been like on Reed's case kind of the whole time, saying like, I don't really even think he's a genius, at least not by Inhuman standards. I think his theory about vibranium causing the mutations with everyone seems way wrong. Yeah. Then afterwards, Medusa finds Doctor Doom's time machine and reads journal about what he should do with it, and he's like struggling with it, which seems like a very weird cliffhanger, but that's the cliffhanger they went with here. They've got a time machine now. Okay. And then we learn a few other key things in this whole text conversation afterwards with Uatu and X-51, where Ant-Man, Scott Lang, is living in Iron Man's armor. Carol Danvers is off on the Kree homeworld with them. Wonder Man, friend of the show, no sign of him, but he was pure energy, so who knows what happened to him. Glad we got a Wonder Man mention.
We never got closer on what happened to X-51 after he got that disc slapped on him.
Oh, that's right. He did. That was X-51. I forget because they kept calling him Machine Man, but same guy.
It is the same guy.
Yeah. But he does. X-51 does mention it's weird. There's no psychic or telepathic minds anywhere. Like no more Xavier. Jean doesn't have her powers. No one else that they can find. There's so many weird little nuggets that seem important that end up in this text at the end here that I skipped most of. Who knows what else we missed in here. But that's number 5. I feel like stuff happened more. Like scenes were punchier than in the first 4 issues, right? Am I making that up? Is this wishful thinking?
Yeah.
I think it's also because they had the Asgardians origin, which I care about more than the Inhumans or the Eternals origin.
No Eternals, no Namor.
Oh, yeah.
Namor. Just when we've come to love Namor. No Namor. Too bad.
More.
Anything else for y'all to say about this? It was there. I'm still curious, but I'm doubting if we will ever get any payoff to any of this.
Yeah, the way this story is being told is really, again, talking about the last story, Emperor Doom being a little bit too in a hurry. This is the complete opposite. Yeah. Where it's just like this should be issue 3's ending, but this is issue 5. Like, what the hell are we doing?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Also, Lockjaw was a child that turned into a dog. Is what I learned.
Yep. Well, wow. There you go. That's what I was afraid had happened, but I didn't want to commit to that being.
The Marvel site is the official Marvel site is according to some reputable sources. So even they're not entirely sure.
So yeah, there's some comic out there that said, the Mist turned just a guy
Are you
into.
Sure that's not like an in-universe guide, like an in-canon, like it's written in-universe?
It's what it was on Marvel.com is what they said. They also said, I went through Lockjaw's whole history. I forgot that in Marvel Zombies, he ate friend of the show Machine Man, X-51, and that's what released the Marvel Zombies virus, was Lockjaw.
What?
Eating Machine Man.
Why would that? Well, whatever.
Nice going, Lockjaw.
He bit Machine Man and it transported him to the zombie universe or some shit like that. That's what happened.
Yeah, a robot, whatever. I don't.
There is a Marvel Zombies board game now.
Ooh.
From the zombie side.
I love Sean Phillips. And he made more money on that than anything else he made in his life. I don't want to read Marvel Zombies, but I'm curious at this point.
Should
maybe on the
April show at some point. Who knows? Yeah, maybe that'd be a quick one.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else to talk about with this? I think we're done. Next time, Earth X number 6. Vince, I think you weren't even paying attention when I was talking about Earth X. You were just reading about Lockjaw the whole time.
I got distracted. You know what? More stuff happened in that Lockjaw reading than happened in Earth X.
Yeah, that's true. But next time we are moving on to Earth X number 6. We'll see where this story goes. I feel like after number 6, we gotta see if we're gonna continue.
Is this gonna be the last? Are we gonna make a vote?
I mean, at the same time, if we've made it through 6, it's like, but I gotta see what happens.
Yeah.
But who knows? We'll decide next time. But our main read next time is going to be Superior Foes of Spider-Man from 2013. It's by Nick Spencer with art by Steve Lieber. And it's kind of a story about all of Spider-Man's C-tier rogues gallery getting together, putting a little band back together. That's the name of the first volume, Band Back Together. It's the first 6 issues. We're reading that. And then we are doing Earth X number 6. And I guess that's it next time. Yeah. What else do we got to talk about? Chris, what's the Your Stupid Minds podcast have to plug?
Your Stupid Minds, the same week that this issue or that this episode comes out, we will have a episode about the film Assassin's Creed. So speaking of, I don't know, Greek gods and Nordic gods and whatever crazy god shit that Earth X has, Assassin's Creed also does all of that stuff. But the movie really doesn't. The movie is mostly about Michael Fassbender getting into a machine and reliving being in Spain in 1492. And so we talk about it, and we're also going to talk about it in relation to Netflix's new movie, Michael Fassbender is the Killer, which we're not reviewing, but it's just kind of a funny coincidence that he has multiple Assassins movies.
I've seen ads for the Killer at the subway stops, and I love. Is the name of it really the Killer, or is it like K_period LLER? Because the way they have it on the posters, it's like the eye has been murdered and it's fallen over, and it's an underscore and a period. And I hope that's the official name of the movie, K_period LLER. Like how Pink's first for big album Misunderstood is not that, right? It's like a bunch of
and Pink actually has an exclamation point instead of an I in her name.
That too. Her name's not Pink. Her name is PNK. So the name of the movie you're covering is actually the K_.
No, they're doing ass in Creed.
Yeah, we're doing ass.
Oh, that's right. And you're talking about the K_.
Yeah, kind of as a compare and contrast with the Killer.
I see. Well, I hope it's good. Vince, what do you guys talk about?
Just playing the new Yakuza game, Like a Dragon,
Yeah.
The Man Who Erased His Name. It's fucking great. It's so good.
Yeah, incredible. I was in the mood for something superhero-y, but also stupid and dumb. And I said, you know what? Let's play a Lego game. I'm sure I have one of these on PlayStation. And the DC Lego Supervillains game. I've been playing that. You know what? It's fun. You get to play as a lot of different villains.
I love it.
What else do you want? It's a Lego game. You know what to expect from those.
Yeah, I like Lego Marvel too, just because there's like a fuck ton of characters. I'm like, really, this character's in it? So a one for DC sounds fun.
Yeah, and you get to create your own character too. Yeah, mine. With the parts they give you at first.
Yeah.
So I got a little pumpkin head on there with some moth wings. His name's Terror Moth. It's a good name. It's a good name. But that's what I've got going on. That's it. Reader, listener, thanks for listening. I think we're gonna sign off. How do we do our sign off? What do we usually do? I say, Vince, I love you.
Love you too, bud.
I remembered. Chris, I love you.
I love this new Gary Larson book I've been reading. It's great.
Oh, wow. What an asshole. The new Gary Larson.
Yeah, book. He wrote Master and Commander, The Far Side of the World.
That's right.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm reading the novelization of Cow Tools.
Wow. And do they still make Far Side? Is Gary Larson still alive?
He came back like 2 years ago for like a weird little run, and they were not funny. But yeah, he made new Far Sides within this decade.
Wow,
that's crazy.
Good job, Gary Larson. Proud of you. Listener, thank you so much for listening. We love you, and we'll see you next time. Bye.